Hello and welcome! Today we are recording a new video guide on the Rolex watches. I hope you already had a chance to watch the previous guides. You found information useful and you are looking forward to watching this new guide. Today's episode is a very special one for us because of two reasons. The first reason is that we will present you the Rolex watch that we covered in our first written guide that is available for free on our website together with many other guides. The second reason for which today's episode is special is that this watch is the gorgeous and most famous Rolex Submariner, reference number 116610LN. This watch already got a successor, the 126610LN, that was released by Rolex in September 2020. But the 116610LN is still a very popular watch and will be so for years to come. What I personally like most about this watch is Rolex's strategy to create one of the all-time favorite beach-to-boardroom timepiece. This means that the watch looks great when wearing it at the beach as well as when presenting the commercial strategy in the boardroom of the company. If it's not a favorite, it's definitely a symbol, maybe even the most famous symbol when it comes to diverse watches. Being this popular, we decided to cover for you 3 Rolex Submariner watches that will be available throughout our video guide. We will have 1 authentic item and 2 top quality replicas. Watch this video to find out everything on the differences between the real and the fake Rolex Submariner 116610LN. In this image we have the authentic timepiece, which is valued above 10k USD, one of the best replicas available on the market that costs around 500 USD, and an older high-quality replica that costs about 300 USD. Guess which is the authentic item, pause the video and leave us a comment below, then stick with us so we can uncover if you are right or wrong. Don't cheat! Now I'm going to give you a quick rundown on our video guide on the differences between an authentic and the replica Rolex Submariner 116610LN. The guide has 9 steps and we are going to start with the first step, which is about the watch's weight. You are going to find out the weight an authentic watch should have and what is an acceptable margin from that specific weight. Next, we are going to analyze the watch's dial, consisting of text and different other elements. You are going to see, for example, that the fading text can be a sign of a replica watch. Third, we are going to look at the date window and by using several side-by-side pictures, we are going to highlight the main differences between the real and the fake Rolex Submariner. The Rehaut engravings will also be analyzed and I am going to show you how the correct engravings look like and what spots to look on in case you are trying to call a replica watch. Fifth step will be about the bracelet and the clasp of the watch. If at times your clasp gets inexplicably stuck or you can spot different inconsistencies, this can be a red flag. On our sixth step, we are going to take a very close look at the pearl located on the watch's bezel. Having 3 watches in this video guide, you will get the chance to see how the genuine pearl looks like and how 2 different replica pearls can be manufactured to look like. For the 7th step, we will inspect the crystal and discuss more about the anti-reflective coating, which has to be available on your watch if we are discussing about the genuine one. The replica item can also have this coating available, but it will offer a lower quality. 8th step, the Cyclops lens. The small magnifying lens above your date window is also a good spot to look at when trying to differentiate the genuine and the replica item, and we are going to show you how to properly inspect the Cyclops lens. The Lume effect present on the Rolex watch can be seen in a dark environment. One of the most common tells when it comes to the replica Rolex Submariner is the weight that the manufacturers compromise with this watch. It is well known that the authentic piece, the 116610LN Sub, weighs 155 grams, plus minus 10%. The 10% difference can represent either a modified number of links on the watch's bracelet, a watch and a bracelet that were polished, or even both. You would need an electronic scale for jewelries, which can be found at any jewelry shop or can be bought online. For the next step, together we are going to take a very close look at the watch's dial. When inspecting all the elements printed on the dial and their quality, you can see in the close-up pictures available on the screen that differences can be spotted. Differences can consist of both the font used on the watches, its position, or even its quality. The quality means that if at any time you can see printed letters, numbers, logos, or other elements that are appearing like they are fading out, this can be a sign of a replica watch that you are looking at. Also, keep an eye on all the spacing and symmetry between the elements that are present on the watch, as any inconsistency can be a red flag, unfortunately. The next tell we are going to look at and inspect is actually the watch's date window. If you watched our previous video guides on watches, you might already know that the date window is a tell that is almost never perfectly replicated by the manufacturers of the fake Rolex watches. Getting back to our current guide with the iconic Rolex Submariner and taking a closer look at the date window, we are about to show you several differences that can be spotted on the replica items versus the authentic piece. Another tell that we have previously discussed and will discuss again in this guide is about the Rehaut engravings. The Rehaut, once again, it's the grey inner circle between the crystal and the dial. It is engraved with the letters that compose the Rolex name, together with the Rolex crown engraved at 12 o'clock on the Rehaut and the serial number that is engraved around the 6 o'clock area. Those elements engraved on the Rehaut will always be aligned with the minute and second markers, while the crown engraved has to be centered with the 12 o'clock hour marker. So take a close look at the Rehaut and make sure that the engravings are consistent, well aligned and of high quality. If anything looks suspicious, it might be the case, the most probable case, that you are holding a fake item in your hands. When it comes to the fifth tell, I'm going to ask you to take a look at your watch's bracelet and clasp. Also take a look at the materials used there. However, what you need to keep an eye on is again any inconsistency that can be seen on the watch's bracelet or on its clasp. In the images on the screen, we are going to show you a few inconsistencies that we noticed when looking at the replica watches we had on our hand today, next to the genuine timepiece. Also, when it comes specifically to the clasp, always try it by opening and closing it a few times. If it goes smooth, like this genuine one, everything is fine. However, if the clasp apparently looks just fine, but you have to apply a lot of pressure close to breaking your nail when trying to open it, challenge that I am facing right now with this watch, it most probably is the case that you, just like me, have a fake item in your hands. Keep an eye on the bracelet. The clasp, try opening and closing the clasp at least a few times. If it doesn't feel right, it's not right. Another element that can be relatively easy to spot when it comes to differences between the authentic Rolex Submariner 116610LN watch and its best replicas is the pearl, tell number 6 in the current guide. The pearl is located on the bezel in the center of the triangle representing the 12 o'clock marker. It's not an easy tell to notice if you do not have at least a few pictures showing the differences, but that is our job today, and here are those pictures. As you can see, the differences consist of different pearl models, different styles, or even different depths at which the pearl is mounted. If you get the chance to inspect this pearl, feel confident to come back to these images in the video guide, or even the images that you can find on our written guide, so you can compare the pearls. One more tell on our guide will cover the crystal. Actually, not the crystal itself, but the anti-reflective coating that has to be available on it, as it is always present on the genuine item. When holding the watch in your hand, try to move it at different angles so that light can hit it from different positions. At the same time, try reading the time by looking at the dial and the watch's hands. If you can do it easily without interfering with any source of light that might stop you from reading the time, then everything is fine. If, however, light sources stay stuck on the crystal as a reflection and cause you major inconveniences when trying to read the time, this can mean that the anti-reflective coating is not available. It is well known that the replica manufacturers use a lower amount of this chemical, if at all, so keep a close eye on this as well. The Cyclops lens is located on the Rolex Submariner 116610LN above the date window. There is also a model without a date window, but that one has a different reference number, so at least this tell won't apply in that watch's case. So when looking at the date window, you will always read the date using the Cyclops lens. This small lens has been designed in order for you to easily read the magnified number in the date window, number that represents the date. What you need to look after is the anti-reflective coating that has to be available on the Cyclops lens, just like on the crystal, so that not too much light will stay stuck on this lens, neither the reflected image. Another thing is that the lens will magnify the date in a very comfortable manner. By this I mean that you will be able to easily read the date, the numbers being not too small, neither too big. This again is something that can be easier to spot when looking at the pictures in the current guide or on our written guide that is available for free on the website. The Lume effect present on the Rolex watch can be seen in a dark environment, and I suggest you to try looking at the watch even in a dark environment. As you can see in those pictures, the Lume effect is very present on the genuine item, while on the replica items this is not perfectly replicated. The chemicals present on the watch's hands and on the markers present on the dial are not that consistent on the replica items, while on the genuine item you will always be able to easily check the time even in a dark environment. Thank you so much for watching today's episode. We had the chance to take a close look at the emblematic Rolex Submariner, the 116610LN, that we had available for you today. I had a good time inspecting the genuine item as well as the two well-made replicas, and I do hope you had a good time too and you found the information useful and practical. On our website you can also read useful information about our authentication service that can be offered by our team, including for your Rolex watch. Remember that we are going to cover more and more watches in our future video guides, so please subscribe to our channel, like this video, I really hope you did like it, and leave us a comment with your feedback or any watch that you would want us to cover in a future guide. Thanks a lot and see you soon. Bye!